About Celebrex for a body in motion.
Well, it's fair to say politically it's been one of the worst weeks for the Obama presidency. There's a perception, fair or unfair, that the president appears not to be running Washington. Is this just the typical August swoon, or could it become a political crisis for the president? Arthur Davis is a former Democratic member of Congress from Alabama. Christina Bellantoni is the associate politics editor for Roll Call. And Jennifer Rubin writes Right Turn, the blog, a blog on the Washington Post. Welcome all. Congressman Davis, let me start with you. You were one of the most prominent early supporters of candidate Obama. I remember you were a presence, constant presence on this channel and others.
That's right.
Let me tell you what Maureen Dowd writes today in the New York Times. Faced with a country keening for reassurance and reinvention, Obama seems at a loss regarding his political skills. He turns out to be the odd case of a pragmatist who can't learn from his mistakes and adapt. She's channeling things that I've heard from a lot of Democrats privately, even some very close to Team Obama, who want him to simply do something. What say you?
Let me give you my perspective. Barack Obama is a phenomenal communicator. We all know that. But there's something that he lacks that Ronald Reagan and Bill Clinton had. They knew how to communicate with people who don't agree with them. Clinton learned it coming up in Arkansas politics, where he had to go into a room full of 100 people and go from getting 20 people who are for you. If you got to 40, you were doing well. Coming up in Chicago politics and Democratic environment, Illinois, Obama didn't have to learn that skill. Ronald Reagan
never had a wing
extremely good. Well, he never had to compete for people who just rejected his whole worldview. Right. For Barack Obama to be successful in 2012, he's going to have to find a way to start communicating and making a case, not just to people who are inspired by him and who love him, but to people who frankly disagree with the way he views the world. He's got to find a way to talk to them in their language, start to move them. You know,
Jennifer Rubin, George Bush faced a similar issue at this point in his presidency, and Democrats thought they smelled blood and thought that he was vulnerable, and Bush sort of made this calculation, look, I am who I am, you're going to have to deal with it, and then went after the other guy. It worked. But the second term wasn't a very productive term. Republicans seem to smell blood in the water. I want to ask you this. Are Republicans going to go with their head or their heart? Because I feel like Perry and Romney is a choice between the head and the heart.
Well, that's a good analogy. Let me start by saying if Maureen Dowd and Jennifer Rubin sound alike, the White House is in trouble. Right. Because that's pretty much the entire political spectrum. I think you're right. I think there's going to be a choice between a Romney and a not Romney. It remains to be seen whether Rick Perry or Michelle Bachmann is going to be the not Romney. But ultimately, they're going to have to think, do we want someone who may not be the most authentic conservative, the most devoted conservative, but who has broader appeal to the general audience? We really want to win the White House. Or are they going to go for the most conservative person they can find who's standing on the ballot when they get to their state?
You know, Christina, I look at 04 and 08, right? Democrats went with their head in 04. And they went more with their heart in 08. I think if they were less sure about winning the White House in 08, you might have seen more Democrats hold off on Obama and have gone with what would have been a safer nominee in Hillary Clinton. Republicans, you get the sense with some of these primary voters, they don't want to go with this choice.
Right. No, I definitely think they're looking for this fighter, and I think that that's something that Obama did prove in 2008, right? He defeated Hillary Clinton, who was obviously one of the toughest campaigners, had this very, tough campaign family that he was going up against, and he has only won these big, big contested primaries, never had to sort of get to that middle ground and wing the swing vote, as we just talked about. But I think that the calculation that the Obama people are making is that it doesn't matter who the Republican nominee is, because they can keep Democrats, because who else are you going to choose?
Well, and that's been the argument, is that the base is with them. They're not happy. They know that if they somehow did come up with a ridiculous primary challenger, it could be as successful as Pat Buchanan was against H.W. Bush, in that it just causes problems.
Let me take the $64,000 question in this race, and it's on the Republican side. Can Rick Perry turn into someone who has a message for white working-class voters in Ohio and Pennsylvania and Michigan? Can he take the social conservatism and the skill he has in speaking to the right of the Republican Party? He was extremely good at the prayer piece he did. The guy was as good as a preacher.
But he's speaking to people who already agree with him.
But can he develop a message, an economic populist message to white working class voters. If Perry can pull that off, then he could be the Bill Clinton of this cycle, the guy whose talent carries him. But that's an open question right now.
But it's also an open question on Mitt Romney. You know, it's interesting. I want to bring up what Mark McKinnon just said this about Rick Perry, that he said, I think he will put Romney in the microwave and turn it up on high. Romney's been avoiding the heat so far, but not when Perry gets in. Look, Perry's not afraid to be combative. Ask Kay Bailey Hutchison. Yeah, he's a very tough campaigner. His worst critics and his best friends agree that he's a bare-knuckles politician. He's going to run a very, very competitive race. Romney has had the luxury now of sort of having a little bit of sniping down below his feet. He had Tim Pawlenty in that very iconic debate sort of in his presence. So he really hasn't been challenged head-on by someone who has very good conservative credentials. And we're going to see whether he's up to it and whether he can combat that. But on the other hand, we haven't seen Rick Perry on the national stage. You think because you won the governorship of Texas a few times, you've seen the national media, you've been on a debate with polished candidates. You really haven't. And I think there's a big question mark. Is this an evangelical Fred Thompson, or is this Bush? Or does he have the real
exactly. And we're not going to see Rick Perry on the national stage for a while either. I mean, he's going to be announcing here, but he's not going to be debating with other candidates. He's not going to be running.
Hey, we get the first debate with Rick Perry, it looks like, at the Reagan Library. I'm happy about that. All right, stick around. We're going to talk a little bit more after the break, more on Obama, more on Ames. Trivia time. We asked, since 1980, in the years without an incumbent Republican president running for re-election, how many times has a Dole or a Bush won the Iowa caucuses? For this, 4 times. 1980, 1988, 1996, 2000. So, ready for this? It's every time but once in 2008 when Huckabee won the caucus winner. 5 competitive Iowa caucuses, and only one time was a guy not named Dole or Bush. We'll be right back. You're watching the Daily Rundown.